So you will see the Finalize button for each of the participants. So it's very important that the coordinator finalize each participant. It means that he opened, he saw the information provided, and he confirms. After all participants are finalized, this screen will turn, the flags will turn green, and the next step for the coordinator is to finalize the overall application. And you can see here highlighted the button. So the button Finalize of the overall application will be available after all participants have been finalized. You might finalize, let's say, 2 weeks before deadline, and meanwhile you change your mind, you want to update, for instance, the scientific part. Throughout the submission period, you are able to reopen and finalize your application as many times as you think you need. Every time you finalize the application or reopen, you will get an alert for the applications, especially when you reopen, just to inform you that you reopened and to give you a warning that the application is not finalized. And if at the time of the deadline you don't finalize by them, will not be considered. So please be aware that all the applications that are submitted to the IMI office are the ones that are finalized before the deadline. For more information on documents and guidelines and well, the other documents that Nathalie mentioned, you will find an area, public area, with a documents folder. So you will have the user guide for the application in this folder, and you will have any other document that you will need and template that you will need to upload to the application. So you have submitted your application, the deadline, it comes, then starts the work at IMI to check the eligibility of your application. Then we go through the evaluation process, and the successful application will then move on to full project proposal submission. And you can see here this process highlighted. So we get several applications during stage 1, during the stage of expression of interest. They are evaluated, and only one per topic will be successful. Another simplification that we have done in the process is that at the time of the full project proposal, you will not need to type again the administrative information that you have submitted at the EOI time. So for the applicant that moves on to the next phase, the application will copy all your administrative information. And that's it. So if you would like to see the application live, I will be during the break around. So feel free to approach me, and we will get questions at the end of our talk. So now I hand over to Magali.
So now we will discuss a bit about the IMI grant agreement, where all the right and obligation of the participants signing an agreement with the IMI GU are set up. In order to better consider the accounting and budgeting principle of each participant, it has been seen necessary to modify this grant agreement, not only for beneficiary, but also for FPA companies. So this first slide will refer reflect this last modification introduced in the grant agreement. First one, which has been introduced last November, is related to the reporting of direct costs. Right now, we are also allowing the reporting of these direct costs based on flat rate, especially for SMEs owner, because they do not necessarily receive a revenue, so we have to consider the cost incurred by this SME owner, but also to allow the reporting of actual or average personal costs. That was clearly one of the improvement we made to the grant agreement last November. Another major change, which was introduced in IMI, you probably remember that from the beginning, only one reporting method was introduced in IMI relating to the indirect cost. Right now, in addition to the flat rate of the 20%, it's also possible for each beneficiary to report their actual indirect cost. If you are participating in framework program project, you are used with this method. We know that year after year, all entities are improving their accounting system, and it was important for this company to really reflect the reality of their indirect cost. One of the other modifications we made, and this was approved very recently, beginning of this month in May, when you have one beneficiary which is losing its status. If we take the example of an SME participating in an IMI project might, in the course of a project, lose its status and not become anymore an SME. And based on the previous rule, one of the beneficiaries was losing its status as an entity eligible to receive IMI funding. The IMI funding was stopped. And now it has been clearly mentioned in the grant agreement that even if during the course of this IMI project, one of these beneficiaries losing status is faced to this situation, the IMI's funding won't be stopped. This entity will still be eligible to receive this fund until the end of the same project. Of course, for future project, for future implementation, for future participation in other projects, this entity won't respond. We won't answer to the eligible criteria to receive IMI funding, but at least for this participation during which this beneficiary has lost its status, this will have no impact. And this is clearly a major improvement, especially, as I mentioned, for the small and medium-sized enterprise. And the last modification, which is for the benefit of the beneficiary, when the beneficiary will have to report their costs, they will have also to provide audit certificate by auditors. And sometimes it was difficult for auditors to really understand what was asked for. To that end, we introduced clarification in the guidance note which explain which type of data are to be provided by these auditors, and especially also because to reflect the modification I just mentioned before regarding the reporting of the direct cost based on an actual basis or average personal cost. For the FPA company, simplification, clarification shall be for the benefit of all participants. For sure for the beneficiary, but also for the FPA company. That's the reason why it was also very important to consider the accounting and budgeting principle. And to that end, it was clearly now stated in the grant agreement that all the costs of the participating company will have to be based on their normal accounting and budgeting principle. It implies that they will have to explain how these accounting and budgeting principles work, but this has to reflect and to be fully in line without adding any other administrative burden. Concerning this FPA company, once again, it might happen that in addition to the in-kind contribution to the resources, the personnel, the consumables they are making available to all these IMI projects, they might also award to some of the beneficiaries what we are calling a cash contribution. Mostly, these cash contributions are used to hire a PhD by an academic or an SME partner. And the idea from the FPA company is to help in hiring this PhD, but also for the benefit at the end of the project and the whole consortium. To that end, now it has been clearly stated in the grant agreement that any of this cash contribution made to one of the partners in the project for the benefit of the IMI project will be clearly recognized as in-kind contribution, just to avoid any misunderstanding. And the last point, you have probably read the Call 6 topic text. You have seen that now it has been approved to consider some part of this FPI in-kind contribution from outside Europe as a matching contribution. Of course, this has been agreed under predefined conditions, especially in the area of public health interest and where there is a benefit for the stakeholders in Europe. That's also the reason why we are fully transparent from the beginning in the call text. We mentioned the reason why this, where are the benefits, why this could be approved, and on which basis the decision has been taken by the governing board. So when this will apply, this will be clearly stated in the call text from the beginning.